Hey everyone, this is a bit weird, this one. That's not even weird, it's just been a while, that's all. I'm actually at the office. I've got a big day today. I haven't had a chance to go to the studio, which I really would have liked to. Would like to have done it over the long weekend, but it is what it is. And I'll give a shout out straight away to Jimmy Drama, who I hung up on just to be able to get this started. I'm sure he's going to be the first one to listen to this because he, like myself, are very pathetic and have nothing else to do with our days other than work for the man. Oh, God. I actually had heaps that I wanted to talk about, but I have no idea where I don't even know where to start. It's just been a shit show the last month. Just a lot of things going on, a lot of work, a lot of nothing really new. It was just me bitching. I just had a lot of stuff that was in the archives, and I felt like I needed to vent. I wasn't sure when I was going to organise a session. I had Con and Andrew over at my joint last week, and so I got a lot off my chest then. And I didn't think I was going to swing a podcast any time this week just because I've been flat out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to start. I'm actually looking at. I wrote some notes. I actually have notes of stuff that I was venting about, and I'm just realizing the reason why I'm this stressed and tired is not only because I just haven't stopped working. It's because a lot of things have come up in the last month that have pissed me off. So I was wondering, should I start with the personal stuff, or should I start with the small stuff? Or the insignificant stuff that anyone else would typically just leave at the wayside, but just somehow manages to get me rolled up. Oh, fuck it. I don't know. Let's go with, what have we got here? Okay, so most of it just revolves around me being overworked and just putting up with less shit and just second guessing stuff. There's a common theme to everything now that I think about it, because I got off the phone with Jimmy and he asked me a really great question, something someone else asked him. And it was about the definition of being rich. What is being rich to you, you know? And then you got the idiot jokers that are like, oh, well, you're rich in life. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm poor. If I was rich in life, I probably wouldn't be talking to people like you. Yeah, someone had asked him about being the definition of rich, and Jimmy's definition of rich was not having to pay for a mortgage. And I agreed. I one-upped it and sort of said, it's not so much not paying the mortgage, it's more about not having to pay for where you live, not having that overhead, and then not having to second guess paying for shit. You know what I mean? As trivial as food, right? That is being rich. Because you could say, you know, you got bums out there that just live at home, you know, with their parents or an elderly relative or their siblings or whatever, and they probably don't contribute shit, right? That doesn't make them rich. That just makes them a bum. Because then you got people that live at home, you know, either with elderly relatives or their siblings, but contribute to their household, you know, expenses, right? That know what it means to actually, you know, have responsibilities. There's a whole different ways to look at it. But when people try and, so this is going to be a long one. So when people second guessed why I chose to rent in South Bank or even Hyatt when I first moved to Hyatt, and people said, oh, you know, why pay someone else's mortgage? I go, listen. And I used to say it all the time. I said, we grew up in this, you know, WOG Greek, vacuum of mentalities and ideologies and schools of thought where, you know, rent money is dead money. We used to see those ads back in the day. Rent money is dead money. And then they convince you to invest out in, you know, Lang Lang or Kui Rup or, you know, Clyde North or Tarnee or anywhere where these people, where everyone else is investing now. But, you know, you don't want to buy into one of their, what's it called, their scams, their building grifts back then. You don't want to live, I didn't want to live in Clyde North, I didn't want to live in Tarnee. So I figured, why not rent? I want to rent my lifestyle and invest in my future. I say that a lot. So when people used to say, you know, why pay someone else's rent? You know, just buy it. It's like, well, dickhead, I can't buy an $800,000 penthouse in South Bank, you know, and I don't want to get one person alone, my mortgage could go up to X amount of dollars. So I could buy in Noble Park, you know, for $280,000 when I did, but I didn't want to live in Noble Park. I did it for 7 years. I wanted to get out of the hood, so I thought I'd rent. It's easier for me to rent in South Bank than it is for me to buy, you know, like a 2-bedder apartment or whatever it is. They're going for $600,000-$700,000, right? Anyway, moral of the story, this fucking verbal diarrhea. The moral of the story is that ultimately you have to pay for a roof over your head. Doesn't matter where it is, okay? If you've got that covered, that's a big, big percentage of what your take-home pay is, you know, your overall money coming in. Rent or a mortgage or whatever your living arrangement is usually the biggest overhead that you have to cover. If you're not paying for that, then you're rich. You've automatically got upwards of, you know, 30, 40, 50% of your income minimum that you now can spend frivolously on whatever you want. You can buy all the fleshlights you can stack in your pantry. I don't know why you would put fleshlights in your pantry. Anyway, I'm just picturing that. You got like mates over or whatever, you know, your wife's best friend or people from the office that come around and it's just like, hey, do you have any, do you have any bowls or do you have any chips or something? Yeah, just go to the pantry. This poor person opens the pantry door up. These fleshlights, an abundance of fleshlights, new and used, just come falling out and hit her in the head. Hey. All right, calm down. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So ultimately, yeah, it's, you know, that is the definition of being rich. And then I said before, being, you know, tentative and about any purchase, you know, and it's funny because I'm going to the barber today. I'm going to the barber in about half an hour, and I know I will be checking my bank account to the second of me scanning that credit card to pay for it. We're talking about a $50 haircut, yeah? I will literally be checking that credit card to the second before I pay to make sure that there's money on that account. Even right now, I got paid yesterday. No, I got paid 2 days. No, yesterday, because of the public holiday, there was a day late in my pay. I got paid yesterday. I know that money's already gone. And I don't know where it's gone. I've just paid for shit. Did I put enough on my credit card to tick over for another week? Don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, it's weird. What's the definition of being rich? I think anyone with private health insurance that's more than just extras is rich. You know, that's 250 odd a month minimum. I know this because I went down that rabbit hole the other day. I got a call from iSelect. Is that what they're called? iSelect? I used them recently to change over utilities and stuff like that. Or was it utilities? Phones? I can't remember. I used them to search up services that I couldn't be fucked searching myself. I thought, you know what? There's companies that do this sort of crap. They advertise it all the time. So I called them up. I got what I wanted out of them, and I completely forgot about it, but I started getting calls from them over the last week. And eventually I finally just, I answered one of them, like I got to it. And they're like, hey, you know, we spoke to you about a month ago. We're just touching base now. If you want to review your private health insurance, blah, blah, blah. I go, well, I don't have private health insurance. Like, yeah, no, we know. We know. Oh, God. And we're just, if you want to go through the process with a consultant, this and that. So I said, okay, cool. I said, fuck it. Why not? I haven't stopped working all weekend. This is an excuse to actually stop. So I stopped working. I took this call. I actually sat down on my couch, and I got this kid, a young bloke, who's about, we started chatting, and he starts taking me through the process. You know, what would you be looking for in private health? This, and that. He starts naming all this stuff, and he starts slapping on the extras and all that sort of thing. And he got to the end. He gave me a quote of like, you know, $250 a month or something like that. I go, mate, there's no way. I go, forget it. I can't afford that. Like, it's unrealistic. And secondly, and this is what I said to him, I go, my old man went through the hospital system over the 3 year period. Not once. Okay, he was seen, he had surgery, he had a private dorm, he had all types of stuff, you know, and not once did we have to reach into our own pockets to pay for anything. And he was seen immediately, and he got the care he needed and all that sort of thing. I go, if I die, they're going to take everything I have anyways. So it's going to go somewhere. Who gives a shit? I haven't got a legacy. You know what I mean? I haven't got kids. Chances are, if I'm in an accident, there's very few people that are going to come and see me anyway. So what do I care about a private dorm? Put me in with the general population, like if I went to prison. I can't be left on my own. Anyway, we're just talking about it. So whittled away all the things that actually matter, like hospital visits and choice of doctors and things like that. And he left it down to like extras. So it's like, you get a couple $100 worth of dental a year, you get $200 of optical, all that sort of shit. And it worked out to about $60 a month. And the funny part, the thing that made me laugh, because I was in rare form. Like, I was tired. I was being polite. I wasn't being rude, but I was just in rare form. And at one point, like, this guy was laughing. And he's like, look, I got to get through this script. I go, I'm really sorry, but yeah, this is hilarious. I'm like, it's all right. And he goes, listen, all the information you're giving me, blah, 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 blah. I've got to play a disclaimer, basically topping and tailing all the legal elements and what's the word I'm looking for? Obligations. I'm like, yeah, cool, play it. Like when you give a credit card, over the phone, all that sort of stuff. And so he's pressed play. He's read off the script and he said, anything you say will be deemed as factual and accurate and correct, and should, I can't remember what I can't remember word for word verbatim what he said, but the gist of it was, if anything you've said turns out to be fraudulent or whatever, this is a federal crime, and and can be considered a serious crime or something like that. And I just said, how serious? And he started laughing. I said, only reason I'm asking, I go, I'm not being facetious, I'm only asking because if it's serious and I go to jail, if I go to prison, I'll get free healthcare and insurance and I won't need this. He started laughing. He's a good guy. Which is a sad truth. I pay taxes out of the arse beyond my means. Not because I earn a lot of money, but just because I'm not on drugs. I don't have 50 kids and I'm not married. So I pay out of the arse in tax. Can't afford private health insurance myself. Pay to go see the doctor every time and get just a small kickback from the Medicare rebate so criminals can go to jail and get free healthcare. If I killed myself in my office or my studio, I'd be completely alone. But these psychos are on suicide watch and they've got 24-hour supervision because God forbid they do something to harm themselves after they've gone in for, shooting up a busload of kids or something, or violating a school of, I nearly said a school of fish, violating a grandmother in a back alley somewhere. We need to look after them. They're oh, God. And that's the thing. These laws, you can't blame the current government for that. You can blame every government for that because these laws have been in place for a long, long time. What a joke. So, yeah, I'm glad I started off the mood nicely with this one. I've got all these things. I've got no idea what some of these things are. Some of these things I know what they are. So to show you just how poor I am, interestingly, I ordered, my mum went to China a couple of days ago. I think like 5 days ago. I can't remember when it was when I ordered the Uber for her. But she called me up. She was in a panic. She was traveling with my aunt, and my aunt apparently had put it on herself to organise the cab or the Uber or whatever, and it never turned up. So I know my mum was leaving her house at 6:30. So at 6:35, she's called me. She said, hey, the Uber hasn't turned up. Can you please get one here? I'm like, okay. So I called an Uber, sent it to her house, and interestingly, I thought, when was the last time I used an Uber? Again, I was checking my credit card first, and then I went into Uber, and I went, you know what? When was the last time I used Uber Eats? And I looked into it. The last time I ordered Uber Eats was 18th of September. 18th of September, and I was in the middle of moving offices. So I remember I'd come here to set everything up because I had a shitload of work to do. So my old office It was under renovations. It's still under renovations. They're doing the air conditioning systems, or God knows what else they're doing in here. And so I've come here, got some help to move my desk and all. I left most of the stuff in the old joint, but I needed to set up desperately because I had stuff to do. And I remember getting home really late, and I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm ordering a kebab. And I got a kebab, and it cost me $40. $40 for a kebab with a drink at night. Now, that was absolutely disgusting. And that was the last time I ordered Uber Eats. So I'm actually very, very proud of myself. I used to order Uber Eats nearly once a week, mostly because I was burning the candle at both ends. I didn't have time to go shopping, and I'd get home late and all that sort of thing. But yeah, and that's when I realized yesterday, something I've been doing lately. Because I'm on the road a lot, I buy a lot of food on the road just to snack, which is terrible because my health is ballooning out of control. And I'm always just driving around, so it sucks. But I love everyone's little things. Oh, just take a tub of yogurt with you. yeah. I'm going to keep a tub of yogurt in the back of this fucking cantankerous car that I drive around that's got 360,000 Ks on the clock, sitting in the sun all day with a little Tupperware of carrots, like a school lunch. I'm a grown man. Those carrots will just piss me off. Nevertheless, something I've been doing lately is just following what I've been spending money on. So, like, I buy coffee nearly every day, and I got shafted with one too many medium cups of coffee they're passing off as large for, $6 plus. I'm like, fuck this. I can't keep doing this. So one thing I did do was take a thermo with me every now and then, but I better remember to buy milk half the time, or I'm just leaving the house too early and I forget about it. But one thing I have had, so what I'm saying is one thing I did do is start going to Macca's, and I don't know whether that happened to that loyalty card. I'm pretty sure I had a loyalty card. I should utilize it because I buy Macca's coffees enough, mostly because I know it's coffee. It's not the best coffee, but it's cheap, it's big, and it does the job. Yeah, maybe someone should contact Macca's about that, run it as an ad. McDonald's McCafe. It's big, cheap, it does the job. Like I'm telling you, the war on coffee is huge. The bullshit cups they pass off as large and are literally small, and they're charging an arm and a leg for. So there you go, definition of rich. So yesterday I was in our fair northern suburbs and I went to buy a coffee from a joint, and the coffee's reasonable. The coffee's like $6, odds, six something, but it's a big fucking cup. So I'll give him that, right? I trust it. And while I'm sitting there, I'm like, I feel a bit peckish. I haven't had breakfast. My last meal was about, 12 hours ago. I should have something. And they had banana bread there, big, like they were decent slabs. They weren't that servo slice. They were probably twice the thickness. And I just looked at it, and I asked the guy when I paid for the coffee, I said, hey, how much is your banana bread? $8. What? $8? I went, yeah, I'm good, man. And I just thought about it. I go, $8? Like, that's exorbitant. Like, that's highway robbery for a piece of banana bread. Like, give me a break. And I thought about it. I'm like, $8? I went into a supermarket just after that. I can't remember what was I buying? Water, I think. Paying for water, bottled water, something we never did 25 years ago. But anyway, this is the most depressing podcast ever. This is just bullshit fucking whining. Why do I do this? Anyway, and there was some collective bag of snacks, like some sweets, like, I don't know, some sort of pastry sort of thing. And that was like $8.50. And I looked at it and I go, well, it's probably not as filling as the banana bread, but it's probably more premium products, more processing, which is all bad for you anyway. So then I walked away. I didn't take anything. I took my coffee and I went home. I didn't go home. I went to work. But that's the definition of being rich. Being able to buy $8 banana bread without having to second guess it. Being able to buy a cup of coffee for $6 and not have to check your credit card or whatever form of payment. Be able to reach in your wallet and pull out money to pay for it. That is the definition of being rich. And You can live life more simply, but you can live life as simple as possible. It doesn't mean you're going to be rich. You know, you can take away anything that gives life meaning and you'll still be broke. That's the definition of being rich. Banana bread at $8. Fuck, what a metric. Sad times. What else gave me the shits? Oh, while we're on the theme of being fulfilled and having a what's it called, a sustainable income and a sustainable lifestyle. No, while we're on the topic of, having a lot of money, I made this joke. It wasn't even a joke. I just said it. And this was, shit. I know who I said it to. I said it to my auntie, and this was months ago. But I don't remember the last time I saw her, so I can't remember exactly when it was. But, so I'm 40, turning 41. And one thing that I get from the older gen that are now hitting their 70s and 80s is, you're still young, you're still young, you're still young. Well, I'm not. I'm 40. At my age, you had like 2-3 kids and you were ready to pack it in. You were telling your kids that you're too old for this shit, yeah? But because I don't have kids, I can't offload my grievances or my depression and just pass the buck, which is ultimately what our parents did. They couldn't deal with their mental health issues, so they just offloaded their stress onto their kids. Why did I ever have kids? You're nothing but a form of stress for me. You are the reason for all my problems. There are more than enough kids out there that have heard that, because it's just a circle of life. You bitch about your parents until you get old enough to be a parent, then you bitch about your kids, so then they can one day bitch about their parents. Fuck, man, this is so uplifting, this one. Anyway, my auntie said to me something about being young, and I still had time to, save, buy a house, something to do. It was just something about being young, because I was complaining about my back or something. I had an injury or an ailment, or I was just airing my grievances as a 40-year-old man would, and my 70-odd-year-old aunt, who's in her mid-70s, she was basically rebuffing it by saying, oh, no, you're still young, or something like that. And I said to her, I can only pray that I'll be 70. I said something about my knees or something on my back, and I said, I can only pray that they last me till I'm at least 70 and I'm able to stand, because I don't have a bathtub. And she laughed, and then she sort of pulled back and made this sort of sad face, and just, I'm pretty sure she got up and walked away. I don't blame her. But that's a sad truth. My apartment, and the last time I had a bathtub in an apartment was in 2020 when I was living in Hyatt, but Noble Park and South Bank. Standing room only, boys. I don't know why I said boys either. That's scary. So, yeah, standing room only. So every time someone would say to me, oh, you know what you need to do? You need to stretch out in a bath and just soak. I don't have a bathtub. And that's the fact. I hope my knees and my back stay intact long enough for me to hit retirement. Maybe that's how it came about. Because I said something about, there's still 30 years to go. I think because I'd gotten late. I'd arrived late to a dinner or something that my aunt was at. And she goes, oh, you made it. What were you working? I go, at least 30 more years. And she goes, oh, don't think like that. You're still young. I said, yeah, well, I hope my knees and back don't give out till at least 70 so I can keep working, because I don't have a bathtub. Oh, fuck. I can't believe I came full circle with that depressing keynote. Fuck. What was the other thing? Oh, my forklift license. Yeah, that's interesting. So, again, definition of being rich. I realized about a month and a half ago, I realized my forklift license had expired. Hey everyone, we know you're completely displeased with this sham of a podcast, so take the opportunity to comment in our YouTube channel or on our social media posts. For every follow that we receive on Spotify, we get one step closer to buying non-powdered milk. And now, back to the episode. Luckily these days I actually don't use my forklift license or really need to be licensed. Obviously it was an integral part of being in logistics for 20 plus years, but these days I'm rarely in a warehouse or, need to jump behind the wheels. But for the sake of actually just keeping it maintained, I mean, you pay like $50 or whatever it is, and it stays valid for like 5-6 years. I don't remember the last time I did not my license. I don't remember the last time I renewed it. Anyway, so I'm only like a month out, so I'm thinking no big deal. I jump online. God bless everything that is now automated. So I get online. I find, WorkSafe or whoever the hell the governing body is, chuck in my details, and it's asking for ID to verify my identification. All fairly standard stuff, but it's completely automated. Now, my first name on paper is Dimitris. That's what my father named me. When the nurse asked him what my name was, he told me this story how many times. When the nurse asked what my name was, my dad said his name is Dimitris, and she went to write down Jim, and he's like, why are you putting down Jim? His name is Dimitri. So they spelt it Dimitris, as a direct translation of the Greek. Somewhere in 95 or 96, I started writing Demetrios. And that's what I've literally used since, 30 years. Now, everything I have is under that name. And anytime I hit a snag where I need to have my full legal birth name and, something gets flagged, so like when I went for my mortgage, just various things, it's come up once every 5 years, if for that, once every decade. You'd be lucky to go for more than once a decade. I've literally just completed a stat deck, and that's pretty much it, or provided multiple forms of government ID, and that pretty much settles it from that point. For some reason, WorkSafe doesn't feel that way, because having a forklift license is a big responsibility, and I'm likely to, hijack one under false identity and drive it, onto the freeway or something, or God forbid I go into a warehouse and move some stock. Anyway, so I escalated. I hit up WorkSafe. I want to say WorkSafe, like I'm sure it is, but my license is in my car and I'm not going back to the car. Anyway, so I've hit them up with an email, tried calling. I emailed them. They said, the email was pretty generic, and it just said, no, it needs to match exactly. Please provide a change of name document from birth, deaths, and marriages, and we'll sort it out. And I'm like, no, I'm not changing my name for a forklift license. So I called them up. I got, handballed around a bit, eventually spoke to someone, and their advice was that, well, no, it needs to be exact, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, no, it doesn't. I go, whenever I've run into this scenario back in the day, I just signed a stat deck and that was it. Well, in the world of automation and everything's moving forward and you're best doing this because it's only going to get harder and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I'm not changing the name my father gave me. What is the problem? Yeah, well, look, they're very stringent about this and, it's just going to get more and more difficult moving forward. And I said, listen, okay, the Victorian government gave me a gun license and didn't question my name. And you're telling me that the government feels that it's less of a liability for someone to be running around with a vowel missing, but carrying firearms as opposed to, potentially walking into a warehouse and taking on an Arvo shift? Are you serious? Does it make sense that the government would allow me to buy guns but not have a forklift license because I'm one vowel off? Surely you can see that. And she sort of went quiet. And she's like, well, it needs to be escalated. I'm like, all right, fine, escalate it. So I'm sitting there waiting. Eventually a month or so passes. I had a few irons in the coals that I was sort of waiting out for review. I had a parking fine that I was disputing because idiot me parked on the street, but used in the city, in the CBD in South Bank, you've got Easy Pay or Easy Park and Pay Stay. But these freaking cowboys, they monitor different sides of the street. So it's like red and blue. It's so stupid. So I parked for 20 minutes on one side of the street, put in parking, came back, found a fine on my car, then realized I'd paid for parking on the opposite side of the street. Anyway, so I've been waiting that one out as well. So a lot of things, yeah. It's just all revolves around me owing money to people for like innocuous, frivolous, what's it called? Indiscretions. Anyway, so moving on. So I'm waiting. Eventually I don't hear Jack. So I try to contact him again. I call someone up and they're like, I get someone on the phone. They're like, oh no, you've been misinformed. If you go into the post office, you'll be able to just fill it out there and that'll be that. Do you have more than one form of government ID with that name that you wish to use? I said, yes, of course I do. They said, yep, cool. That'll all be, that's all you need to do. I'm like, all right, cool. So I did it. I go to the post office. I see a bloke behind the counter. I go, hey, I'd like to renew my license. Cool. Do you have your license on you? Yes. Here we go. Do you have 100 points of ID in this name? Yes, I do. Slide it all across. And he gave me a form. He goes, fill this out, pay the $70 and you're on your way. And I paid, $20 or whatever for my passport photo. No problem. A week or two go by. I get an email. Demetrios, this application for a forklift license does not have a notice of assessment. Please attach your assessment form of said forklift license and we can process your application. So I call them up again. No, I email them. I'm pretty sure I emailed them. This is not an application. This is not a new application pending my assessment. This is a renewal of a license. Oh no, this won't do. You need a different form. Like, what do you mean? So I've called them up. Eventually I get a lady who, actually I'm not going to assume her gender. Eventually I get someone on the phone and they tell me to take it from the top and explain everything. So I explain it all to them and they say, you've been misinformed. Everyone you've spoken to this point is wrong. When you go to the post office, you do not need an application for a forklift license. There is a renewal form that we send you. This is physically sent to you. It's to cater for people like in your circumstances, that might have 100 points of ID but in a different name and so forth and so forth. So you've been misinformed. I'm like, well, now what? And they're like, well, first of all, I'm very sorry. I go, you don't need to apologize. It's fine. I said, secondly, I'll have the form sent to you. You'll need to go to the post office. Do you have proof of, the purchase that you paid for and all this sort of stuff? I go, yeah. And I drummed up like a screenshot of a credit card statement saying that I paid for the thing and blah, blah, blah. And she said, look, we'll get this refunded. Just need to go to a post office, apply for the new one when the form comes, use the renewal notice, and hopefully you can process your refund there as well. I'm terribly sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, look, I go, this has got nothing. I go, you're the first person that's actually been of help that knows what's going on. I go, I've been handballed around for like the last 2 months. No one has given me a straight answer and they've all sort of just lent in on the, oh, well, just go get your name changed and fuck off. And I said to her, I go, you do not need to apologize on behalf of WorkSafe or anyone else. I go, there are several people that need to get their asses kicked before you. The disheartening thing is this is one of many customer service, I don't want to say failings. In the last couple of months, I've had many things happen to me where this sort of shit has just kept going and going. And you just suck it up and cop it in the ass. Because at the end of the day, nothing can get done. No one cares. You won't win. You'd be lucky to get an admission of guilt. It's just, yeah, I can't be bothered. I'm just so over it. I'm just tired. That's the one thing. Someone said to me that, who was it? Who was I talking to about this yesterday? Yesterday, the day before, they said that they were feeling burnout. I said, what do you mean? I said, it just feels like I'm trying to rest. I'm not getting enough rest. I feel like I'm overworked. Is that burnout? I'm just scared of it. I'm getting anxiety about getting to that point. I laughed. I go, burnout. I go, my burnout's got burnout. I go, I live in the burnout zone. I was just thinking about it. I've had this conversation a few times. It's like a running theme the last couple of months. And it's just, the cost of living is just through the roof. We've overextended ourselves on everything. We're, trying to maintain lives. It's not even like, that's a thing. It's not lives of excess. We're just trying to get the basics. But, I did a bunch of jobs over the last couple of weeks. And I this was my example. I said, I did a couple of jobs over the last few weeks. and it all accounted to about $1,000, extra in the last, 21, let's say 21 calendar days. I added $1,000 of extra income to my, my earnings. Now, back in the day, 5 years ago, like, I don't know what it is for everyone else, but say 5 years ago, if someone said, here's $1,000 extra for your, your last fortnight or whatever, add it to your pay slip because of all the overtime you've done or whatever it is, $1,000 is like a big deal. You can do something with it. It's like hey, I can go pay all this off and we're clear, or, get the credit card back to something healthy, or I can go buy a TV. We need a new TV, all that sort of shit. If you gave my old man $1,000 extra in his payslip after a couple of weeks for the month, it's like, fuck, okay, now we've got some rainy day money. For me, an extra $1,000 is just eaten up before I've even seen it. And the last couple of months, I've done the best I can to whittle down everything, whittle down expenses, change providers, try and save money. And it's just like, fuck, like $1,000 is nothing, absolutely nothing. And at the same time, it's like I went in for Halloween. I mean, even in apartment buildings for Halloween, I went and bought, some chocolate just to have in the house. I didn't want to feel like a scumbag when a kid came and knocked on my door. And it's like, I grabbed the basket and started filling it. And when I went to pay, I didn't really pay attention to prices. And when I walked up to the register, it was like $80. I'm like, what the fuck? I could buy 2 slabs with this money. I mean, is this for real? I mean, we're talking about condensed chocolate. I don't know. It's definitely getting harder. And I wish I was living a life of excess so I could actually have something to gloat about. You know what really annoys me? Now that we're just warming up. Now that I've just spent, 35, 40 minutes bitching about the cost of living and my, poor, sad, pathetic, wretched life. There's something else I'm pushing back on. Shitty content. So, lately, I've been calling out. I love how I'm having the balls to stand up when I myself produced shitty, meaningless content. Either visual or audio, right? But, fuck it, I'm going to say it anyway. Lately, when people send me links to anything, like on Instagram or socials or whatever, if it's actually stupid, I will say it to whoever sent it to me. I say, what have you sent me? Did you seriously consider this entertaining for whatever reason? Yeah? And the one example I can think of is a dude eating a jar of Vegemite. Some dude, I can't remember who he was, I can't remember his name, I'm not going to go through my feed, looking for him or whatever. Pretty sure I didn't save it because I don't want that kind of negativity in my life. But, yeah, just based on that, I was just watching it for like 20 seconds and it's this guy, he's dry reaching because it's like someone sends him challenges or some shit and it's like, oh, eat a massive spoonful of Vegemite or whatever. So he's done it. And I was just like, why? Why are we watching this? Some dickhead standing in a room, dry heaving over a jar of Vegemite. How is that entertaining? Like, you used to have to do courses to be able to film shit and project it, and you had to get licenses and pass, gradings and go to studios and things are accountable. I mean, like I said, I'm the biggest culprit of it. But, at least I remember me and Alex, the actor, were talking about this a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago now, probably more. And shout out to him, he's in New York right now. He's been there for a year. Bless him. I've got so many friends that have all moved overseas to chase their dreams or just change up their lives. It's really, really inspiring. I've actually referenced them multiple times in the last couple of weeks. Anytime someone bitches about, their surroundings. I've got so many friends that are, 40 plus and they've just uprooted and moved like all over the world and not like anywhere where it's easy to survive, and thrive. Like Alex is in New York as an actor. I've got a relative in Singapore. I've got 2 that have moved to Greece from the ground up. Anyway, on the shitty content, Yeah, at least I came from the old school where I spent 20 years trying to finesse a craft. You know, I did live performance. I was in music. I was part of a media company. We did, you know, short films. We did all types of shit. I've been behind the camera, in front of the camera. I've done writing. I've done voiceovers. I've done everything there is to, pretty much almost everything but singing. I don't sing, you know. I've recorded myself rapping and stuff, if you can call it that. And I can't believe I mean, the last time I would have done it would have been over 10 years ago. And it's so weird thinking that there's this whole catalogue of music out there, you know, 20 years worth of music that I made that meant everything to me. And I just let it go. But like I said, shitty content online. And I'm just like, I'm pushing back. Yeah, not because I'm saying anything noble or righteous, but I guarantee you no one would ever share this. But you know what? Next time you go to share some bullshit video on socials, whether you retweet it, reshare it, whatever your jam is or your platform or whatever, just rethink what you're actually sharing. And I'm glad people are healing and they're starting to push back on all of it. Because I'm just done. I'm over it. It was like, you know what got me? It was the other day I tweeted this. And not because I'm profound, but just because I don't care. I am that grumpy old man. Love Island. I've bitched about Love Island. I've bitched about reality shows for a good 10 years now. But Love Island now is literally Gen Zs playing spin the bottle, and there's no bottle, and everyone has lip fillers, OnlyFans, and chlamydia. It is the most pathetic excuse for entertainment. Even that other one, The Golden Bachelor. Just this dude, this cashed up dude, this slick Rick looking dude, you know, the silver fox, and he's got a gaggle of leather necks and collagen and fillers all lining up. I believe in love. No, you don't. You're like a thrice divorced woman that's come on a gaming show to cash in. It's just, I can't. None of it's entertaining. It's all recycled garbage. It's just desperate mutton dressed as lamb, you know, fawning over some dude. And the thing, again, we said this years ago. I remember, like, we're rehashing shit now. The cycle just continues, and, you know, we haven't progressed as a society. We've only just gotten worse. It's like, hang on, man. There's this one dude necking every single woman on this show in the room next to you. And you're horrified when one other skag gets up and thinks she's going to sink her claws in. You know, the bird with the biggest rack goes up there and flaunts her tits, and all of a sudden everyone's upset. It's like, dude, what do you think this show was about? That's her one asset. She's bringing her A game right off the bat. She's coming out of the running blocks charged. She's not waiting to turn the first bend. She's hitting nitro now. And these skags form friendships at the same time while competing for the same dude on a shallow, baseless TV show. It's like, and this dude's no better. He's just another simp. It's like, I really was getting attached to her. It's like, no, you weren't. You sent her off. You got a finger in her, then you sent her packing. It's like, I don't have a rose for her. It's like, okay, but I've got a rose for 6 other birds right behind her. I could go on and on and on. I really should cut this short. It's currently 6:45 on a Friday night, and I'm sitting in the office like a madman, and I still need to get this edited and then get home. God. Not sure how the rest of the year is going to play out. I suspect I'll be doing at least one more solo one before the end of the year, or I'll try to anyway, just to wrap it up. But I do appreciate everyone listening. The last couple of weeks, I've gotten a few randoms messaging me, just friends of mine on the outer peripheral, just touching base, and it's always nice, you know, that someone out there is actually listening to this shit. But like I said, you get any content online and you go to share it frivolously, just think about what you're actually sharing and who you're sending it to. Like I said, what I'm saying isn't profound. It's not new. It's been said 1,000 times, but we really need to push back on this shit as a society because I'm fucking over it. I'm over it. This just allowing this crap to keep circulating and masquerading as entertainment. You know? It's just, how? How did we sink so low where this shit is acceptable? Where, in what universe is this entertainment? Back in the day, if a playwright wrote a shitty play or someone phoned in a performance, they used to stone him to death. One of my favourite scenes in a movie is in Robin Hood Men in Tights, when there's a jester in front of the Prince John and the Sheriff of Rottingham, and he's sitting there doing his mime act, and it's pretty crap, and they're all yawning, and eventually Prince John just goes, no, it wasn't Prince John. Eventually it's the sheriff just goes, kill him! And the guards just grab the mime. And Prince John turns, he's like, you know, a mime is a terrible thing to waste. Let him go. Fuck, that was a good movie. The genius of it was Richard Lewis and his New York Queen's accent. You know what I mean? He's clearly, he's Prince John in England, but he's clearly got a New York Queen's accent. Like, fuck. Mel Brooks is probably, 100? Nearly 100? He wouldn't have long to go. He's probably going to be the last of the greats, to be honest. Once he goes, I think you can shut the door on any form of, you know, offensive, satirical, dark, black comedy. You know? Unless, you know, Eminem starts making movies or something. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. If you've lasted this long, thank you for joining us on this ride. Please like, share, follow, subscribe. It really helps out. If you listen to this on YouTube, give it a like, give it a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you actually think I'm full of shit or don't make any sense? By all means, tell me. Feel free. I don't care. At this point, it's a labor of love, but it's always fun. Just getting some of my thoughts out. It really does help with the, what's it called? With the acid reflux. Yeah. Smoke crack.
Hold up.